There is a kind of silence that lives in old houses, not the peaceful kind, the kind that knows too much and chooses to say nothing. My name is Nadia. I grew up in that silence. In a sprawling family home in the hills, surrounded by fruit trees, marble floors, and a woman named Zara, who cooked our food, raised our children, washed our clothes, and smiled like she had no other purpose in the world. Zara had come to us when I was 4 years old. She was 17. Brought by my grandmother from a faraway village with the promise of a better life, a small salary, and a roof over her head. The salary, I would later learn, never quite arrived. The roof was real, but it was the servants' quarters behind the kitchen. A single room. No window. I grew up calling her Zara Baji. She called me Beta. She made my lunch. She braided my hair. She stayed up when I was sick and sat beside me in the dark, singing soft songs I never bothered to learn the words to. I was a child then. I did not understand the weight of what I was watching. My mother treated Zara like a fixture in the house, like the ceiling fan or the old clock in the hallway. Useful, taken for granted, never truly seen. My aunts were worse. They gave her old clothes as gifts. They spoke to her in clipped, impatient sentences. And when guests came over, Zara was expected to serve silently, blend into the walls, disappear when no longer needed. Nobody ever asked her what she wanted. Nobody asked if she was tired. Nobody asked what her dreams looked like. For 22 years, Zara served my family. She watched our babies grow into adults. She sat quietly at the edges of our weddings, or celebrations, or grief. Always present, always invisible. And then one day, she left. Not dramatically. Not with shouting or tears or a slammed door. She simply folded her few belongings into a cloth bag one morning and walked out the gate. My mother was furious. My aunts called it betrayal. They whispered that Zara was ungrateful, that she had forgotten all we had done for her. None of us stopped to think about all she had done for us. But what I didn't know that day, what none of us knew, was that before she left, Zara had written a letter, and she had sent it to exactly the right people.
The letter did not arrive for 3 months, and in those 3 months, my family lived in comfortable denial. My mother hired a new girl, younger, more timid, easier to control. My aunts moved on without a single moment of reflection. The house continued as it always had. The silence remained. And I was the only one who felt something strange in my chest. A heaviness I could not name. I had come back home after my own marriage fell apart. Sitting in my childhood room, I kept thinking about Zara. About how she had raised me, with more warmth than my own mother had. About the stories she told me before bed. About the way she cried quietly on Eid mornings, when everyone else was joyful, because she had not seen her own family in 12 years. 12 years. My family had not allowed her consistent time off to visit. There was always an excuse. A baby to watch, a relative arriving, a function to prepare for. Her life had been borrowed, piece by piece, until there was almost nothing left of it that was her own. I started asking questions my family did not want me to ask. I asked my mother where Zara's salary receipts were. She told me to stop being dramatic. I asked my aunt if Zara had ever signed any kind of formal work agreement. She laughed and said, "She was part of the family. We didn't need papers." Part of the family. The phrase burned through me like acid. If she was family, why did she sleep in a room with no window? Why did she eat after everyone else? Why did she have no day off? No medical care? No savings? The answer, of course, was that she was never family. She was convenient. She was exploited. And they had dressed that exploitation in the language of love and loyalty to make it easier to swallow. For themselves, not for her. Then the letter arrived. It came from a labor rights organization in the city. Zara had written to them in careful, deliberate handwriting, documenting 22 years of unpaid wages, withheld documents, restricted movement, and emotional abuse. She had kept a small diary the whole time.
The case did not go to court. My family, fearing public exposure, agreed to a private settlement. It was not everything Zara deserved. Nothing could ever be that. But it was something. A sum of money, a formal letter of acknowledgement, an apology that my mother signed with a shaking hand and a face full of shame she had waited too long to feel. I found Zara through the organization. She was living with her sister now, back in her village. She had planted a garden. She had painted her walls yellow, her favorite color, which I only knew because once, years ago, I had asked her, and she had told me with such surprised delight that anyone had bothered to ask. I visited her. I sat in her yellow kitchen and drank tea she made for me, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. And there is a difference between those two things that I had never truly understood until that moment. She was not bitter. That was the thing that undid me completely. She was free. Her eyes were lighter. Her laugh came more easily. She had been carrying the weight of our house for so long that when she finally set it down, she simply bloomed. I don't hate them, she told me quietly. But I needed them to know that I had a life too. That it mattered. I held her hands and wept in a way I could not explain. For her, for the years lost, and for the version of myself that had been too young, too comfortable, too unaware to see what was happening right in front of her. My family called what Zara did revenge. I don't see it that way. Revenge is about destruction. What Zara did was different. It was documentation. It was truth. It was the quiet, unstoppable act of a woman who had been silenced for 2 decades, finally choosing to speak. She did not burn anything down. She simply lit a lamp. And in that light, everyone could finally see clearly.